The moment Jasmine Crockett exposed Kash Patel with one quiet question. What you're about to see is the moment a single folder full of documents completely destroyed a man's career in under 10 minutes. And it all started with one quiet question that flipped an entire congressional hearing upside down. The cameras were rolling live on C-SPAN when Kash Patel walked into that hearing room like he owned the place. He came ready for war, voice raised, accusations flying, throwing around words like corruption and national security threat like they were confetti. This was supposed to be a routine review of classified document handling, but Patel had other plans. He leaned into his microphone, papers flapping in his hand, pointing fingers across the room. "I don't know what's going on behind closed doors," he snapped, "but I'll be damned if I sit here and let this administration hide behind legal smokescreens while documents are being tampered with." The room was eating it up. This looked like passion, like a man committed to exposing the truth. But across from him sat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, completely silent, completely still. She didn't blink. She didn't move. She just watched. Her hands stayed folded on the mahogany table, that kind of stillness that either signals complete detachment or a storm being quietly measured. And everyone watching could feel it brewing. The setup. See, what Kash Patel didn't know, what he couldn't have known, was who he was really dealing with. Jasmine Crockett didn't grow up in the kind of place where people assumed you'd make it to Congress. Mesquite, Texas isn't exactly a launching pad for political careers. Her mother worked the early shift at the post office. Her father drove for Dart. Nothing came easy. But Jasmine had something else. She watched people. She picked up on tone, body language, what wasn't being said. It made her sharp, sometimes too sharp for the people around her. By the time she hit law school, she'd learned something crucial. The loudest voice in the room isn't always the strongest one. She spent 6 years as a public defender in Bowie County. 6 years of thankless cases, fighting for kids who couldn't afford to lose. She didn't wear expensive suits or speak in polished sound bites. She wore jeans, sneakers, and a serious face. And she never, ever went into a courtroom unprepared. That preparation, that habit of doing her homework before opening her mouth, that's what Kash Patel was about to run face first into. The explosion. For nearly an hour, Patel kept going, getting louder, more aggressive, more personal. The committee chair tried to restore order, but Patel wasn't having it. He pointed his finger directly at Jasmine and said, "Some of us have actually served this country. Some of us have put our lives on the line, and some of us are too busy protecting friends in high places." That did it. A low wave of ooze swept through the room. Jasmine raised her eyes slowly. Her voice was calm, measured. "Are you finished?" Silence. "I just want to be clear," she said, microphone live, eyes not leaving his. "You're accusing me of using my seat to protect people, but you've got nothing to back that up." Before he could answer, she added the line that changed everything. "You sure you want to go there? On record." Patel shifted in his chair but said nothing. The room was suddenly quieter than it had been all morning. The turn. "Because if we're talking about conflict of interest," Crockett continued, "let's talk. But let's talk all the way. That includes personal ties, financial records, family contracts." From the back of the room, one of the aides dropped their pen. You could hear it roll across the floor. "I've been sitting here letting you speak, letting you call people names. I've shown you respect even when it wasn't returned. But if you really want to get into the integrity conversation, we can start with a security contract awarded to Shield Corps Global." Patel visibly stiffened. His jaw clenched. He opened his mouth, but she raised her hand calmly. "I'm not making accusations," she said. "Just raising questions. Ones the public deserves to hear. And I've got receipts if you're interested." The chair tried to cut in, but it was too late. The story had just broken wide open, and everyone watching at home knew it. The receipts. What happened next was surgical. Jasmine reached for a small folder beside her microphone, the same folder she'd been quietly consulting throughout Patel's entire tirade. "Since we're talking about financial interests," she said, "I'm curious. How familiar are you with Shield Corps Global?" Patel blinked. "Excuse me." "It's a security firm awarded 3 federal contracts in the last 2 years. One connected to Intel Logistics in Bahrain. Another for domestic surveillance tech in Southern California. Ring a bell. You could see the exact moment Patel realized he was in trouble. His expression changed. Not drastically, but enough that the press gallery started scribbling faster. I'm not sure what that has to do with. Jasmine cut him off, calm and precise. They are represented by Holbridge Consulting, correct? I wouldn't know. You wouldn't. She opened her folder. Because Holbridge is run by your brother-in-law, and Holbridge took a 6% cut on those contracts. That's roughly $2.4 million in commissions alone, all from federal spending. Now phones were out, cameras flashing, staffers whispering. The chairman looked rattled. When someone screams about corruption, Jasmine continued, I assume they want the whole room cleaned, not just the corners. The breakdown. Patel straightened his back, trying to regain control. This is personal now. I'm not going to sit here and have my family dragged into this circus. Jasmine looked at him, not cold, just deliberate. This isn't personal. It's public. All of this is in the record. I'm just making sure the people watching get the full picture. Patel leaned closer to his microphone. You better tread carefully, Congresswoman. You're playing a dangerous game now. The gavel came down, but Crockett didn't react. She stayed exactly where she was, completely calm. No, she said, the dangerous game is pretending to care about government abuse while your own family's cashing in. That's a dangerous game. I'm just holding up a mirror. The kill shot, but Jasmine wasn't done. She tapped the folder once, soft, deliberate. These are public filings, contracts, tax disclosures, state-level paperwork filed in Carson City. Nothing sealed, nothing hidden, just pieces most people never bother to look at. She pulled out a neat stack of papers. You claim this administration lacks integrity, that we're failing the American people, that national security is compromised. Yet the company your relative advises, a company with no formal background in federal contracting before 2021, has been awarded projects worth over $40 million within 2 years of your own work in national intelligence. Patel's eyes darted toward the committee chair, then toward the press box. It was clear he hadn't expected anyone to find those details. Let's be clear, Jasmine said. I'm not accusing you of illegal activity. I'm asking a question every American has a right to ask. When someone profits during or immediately after government service, shouldn't we all want a closer look? Patel slammed his hand down. This is a smear campaign. This is character assassination. She didn't flinch. You're the one who came in here calling people corrupt. I'm just matching energy with evidence. Then came the moment that broke the internet. Jasmine set her papers neatly on the table and asked a question that would trend worldwide within the hour. Do you want me to read them out loud, or would you prefer they be entered as is? For just a second, Patel looked like a man who'd walked into the wrong room. The fire he'd walked in with was gone, replaced by something heavier. The aftermath. Within minutes, clips of that exact moment circulated everywhere. The phrase, would you like me to read them out loud, became a rallying cry. Cable news panels broke in with urgent updates. Journalists fact-checked every name Jasmine had mentioned. Turns out, she hadn't missed a thing. Every detail lined up perfectly. But what made it work wasn't just her receipts. It was her delivery. She didn't scream, didn't posture, didn't need to drown Patel out. The power wasn't in her volume. It was in her restraint. Every word landed because she let it breathe. This wasn't viral for the sake of going viral. This was accountability in real time, on the record. News outlets scrambled to piece together the timeline Jasmine had exposed. What she'd done in less than 10 minutes on live TV now had entire editorial teams chasing leads. ProPublica confirmed what she'd alluded to. ShieldCore Global had gone from an invisible startup to a multi-million-dollar defense contractor, thanks to advisory deals quietly negotiated by Holbridge Consulting. And yes, the managing partner was Patel's brother-in-law. The deeper meaning. 3 weeks later, most headlines had moved on, but something about this moment stuck around. In barbershops, laundromats, church kitchens, people were still talking, still quoting, still replaying that clip of Jasmine sitting steady while a man shouted across the table. It wasn't about party lines anymore. It was about posture, Not the kind you hold in your shoulders, but the kind you carry in your voice. Jasmine's voice didn't waver when she dropped facts, didn't shake when Patel threw personal attacks at her. A high school civics teacher in Baltimore played a hearing for her class and asked why Jasmine didn't interrupt Patel. A girl in the back responded without hesitating, because she knew he was already doing the damage for her. That's what made this different. Jasmine didn't expose Patel. He exposed himself. She just held up a mirror. The real lesson. The clip is still out there. The same 12 seconds. The calm voice. The quiet stack of papers. The look on Patel's face when it all caught up to him. People still share it. Not because it's breaking news anymore, but because of what it represents. It's become more than a political moment. It's a reminder that there are still people in power who read the fine print, who don't need to raise their voice to get heard, who understand that truth, backed by preparation, is more dangerous than any outburst. Jasmine Crockett reminded everyone what happens when you bring both facts and composure to a fight. She didn't need to insult. She didn't need to perform. She just needed to be ready. And she was. But the real lesson isn't just about politics. It's about the strength and restraint, the skill in timing, the discipline of knowing your fact before you open your mouth. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is wait, stay still, and speak when it counts. So here's a question for you. Are you speaking just to be heard? Or are you preparing so that when you do speak, they have no choice but to listen? Because the world's full of noise. But truth? Truth is quiet. It sits. It waits. And when the time is right, it walks into the room and lays the papers down, just like Jasmine did.